Hello my dear children. So in the previous class we had started a new chapter in EVS, isn't it? So can you name that chapter? Yes, the chapter that we had started to learn is Our Body an Amazing Machine. That was chapter 8, isn't it? So in this class let us learn about the next part that is there to discuss in the chapter. And in this class you will be learning about respiratory system, isn't it? You will be learning about a respiratory system. So let us see what is the role of this respiratory system. So before starting off the class for today, let us just recall whatever we have studied in the previous class, isn't it? Whatever we have studied in our previous class. So can you just say which all were the points that we discussed in the previous class, or which all were the topics that we discussed? Let us just recall whatever we have studied till now. Then we shall learn about our respiratory system so that it will be easy for you to understand. You can understand this topic much better if you are able to recall the previous parts that were discussed in the previous classes. Okay, so in the class when I started this chapter, I told that in this chapter you will be learning about our body, isn't it? You are going to learn about your body itself. And you learned that our body is made up of cells, isn't it? Just like a building is built, isn't it? A building is built using bricks, isn't it? Bricks are kept one over the other to make a building. The same way our body is built using cells, isn't it? So we can say that cells are the smallest unit or the smallest part of our body. And in our body there are millions of cells, isn't it? Millions means many, many and many, isn't it? Many cells are there in our body. And when these cells, a group of cells, when these join together, we call it as tissues. And an organ is made up of different types of tissues, isn't it? And you learned about the different organs that are there in our body. You learned about the external organs, the internal organs. We discussed a few names also about the internal organs. And then we learned about our sense organs also, isn't it? Our sense organs also. And many of the organs in our body, when they do a particular function, it can be either 2 or 3 organs that do one particular function. That means one particular action, just like a teamwork. When they do, we call it as the organ system. So can you just recall the names of the organ system that you studied? Can you just recall the names of the organ systems? Yes, you learned about the 9 organ systems. Do you remember which all were the 9 organ systems that you studied? Shall we just see the names so that you will listen to these names, and after listening many times you will be able to get used to these terms. Okay, the first organ system was the skeletal system, then there was the respiratory system, then the nervous system, muscular system, circulatory system, digestive system, excretory system, reproductive system, and the endocrine system. These were the 9 organ systems that you studied in the previous class. And you also learned about the skeletal system. We had started discussing about the skeletal system, isn't it? And do you remember what all we discussed about the skeletal system? Yes, skeletal system gives support and the structural framework to our body, isn't it? And the skeletal system is made up of the skeleton, which is made of bones, isn't it? And in our body there are 206 bones, isn't it? Those were the things that you learned about skeletal system. And you also learned that the skeletal system protects our internal organs, isn't it? The skeletal system's role is to protect our internal organs. So, in this class we are going to learn about the next organ system. Okay, you will be learning about our respiratory system. You will learn about our respiratory system in this class. Okay, so let us see what are the specialities of our respiratory system. Okay, the respiratory system in our body helps us to breathe. Okay, it is the system in our body that is made up of many organs. Okay, that will help us to breathe. We all know that we are breathing till we are alive, isn't it? We breathe continuously as long as we are alive. Even when we sleep, we breathe, isn't it? So, it is a system that works continuously, isn't it? So, when you are at school, you must be remembering in the previous year, we used to do yoga, isn't it? That breathing exercise we used to do. And what we do in that? We used to breathe in and breathe out, isn't it? Breathe in and breathe out. So, we are going to learn about the organs that are helping us to breathe. So, we will be learning about which all are the organs that help us to breathe. Okay. So, children, so can you just tell me how we breathe in? You all know that for us, breathing is essential, isn't it? And what is taken in when we breathe in? You know that we are breathing in. So, we are taking in the air that is present around us, isn't it? We are breathing in air. We take in air, isn't it? We are taking in air and then we are breathing it out. So, can you just tell me which is the organ that is involved in this process? Yes, how do you breathe in? Yes, very good. Yes, you breathe in through your nose, isn't it? And in chapter 1, you have also learned the major organ that is involved in this respiration, isn't it? In us, in human beings. Can you just remember, can you just recall what that organ was? Yes, that organ is lung, isn't it? Lungs. Human beings breathe through lungs. So, lungs is the organ that helps in respiration in human beings. Okay, so we are taking in air through nose and you know that our lungs is the organ that is involved in respiration. So, you already know the major two organs, the nose and the lungs. Then, you should also know one more organ, that is the windpipe. So, children, just look at this picture that I have shown over here. In this picture, I have shown the picture of the respiratory system. Okay, I hope it is clear to you all. Okay, so we are breathing in. See, I have marked nose, then you have the lung. Okay, so if you see, the lung is situated in our chest region, isn't it? In our chest. So, we have two lungs. Okay. One lung is in the left side and the other is in the right. Okay. One in the left and the other in the right. So, together we call it as lungs, isn't it? And in singular form we call it as lung. Here I have marked only one lung. That's why I have written lung. You can also write it as lungs. Okay. So, there is the nose, then the lung. Then the air that we breathe in, I told you that we are breathing in air through our nose, isn't it? So, the air that we take in through our nose should reach the lung, isn't it? So, the part or the organ that transports, so take this air to the lung is the windpipe. So, that organ is known as the windpipe. It is just like a hollow pipe. Okay, it is just like a long tube, a hollow pipe that will carry this air to the lung. Okay, that will take this air from the nose to the lung. This is the windpipe. The windpipe is also having another name. We also call it as trachea. We also call it as trachea. Okay, so the nose, the windpipe and the lung. So, for you, if you can't remember this term trachea, learn only the term windpipe. So there are three organs that are involved in a respiratory system. The nose is the, windpipe is the, and the lungs is the. These are the three major organs that are involved in a respiratory system. Okay, so I told you that we are breathing in air, isn't it? And the air that we breathe in, the air we take in, okay, is rich in oxygen. What is that air having? It is having oxygen. Okay, so just try breathing in, breathe in. Okay, so the air that you just that you had taken in just now is rich in oxygen. That means it contains a lot of oxygen. You know that oxygen is a gas, and this oxygen is very important for all the living things, isn't it? You will learn about that. I will tell you why this oxygen is important when I teach you about digestive system. Okay, oxygen is necessary for us. Okay, so this oxygen, the air that we had taken in is rich in oxygen. Okay, the air that we had taken in is rich in oxygen. Okay, and how does it travel? It travels from the nose. Okay, it is traveling from the nose. It travels through the windpipe. It goes into the windpipe and then it reaches the lung. So the oxygen is reaching the lungs. Okay, from the nose it travels through the windpipe and then it reaches the lung. That is how the air is traveling. And the air that we had just taken in, okay, the air that we take in is known as the inhaled air. Okay, when you breathe in, the air that you take in is known as inhaled air. Okay, and when it reaches the lungs, the oxygen has reached the lungs, isn't it? And you know that the air that we breathe in, the air that is around us will have a lot of dust particles also, isn't it? So inside our nose, if you just touch and see also, you can see tiny hairs, very small hairs are present inside our nose. And these hair inside the nose will trap, or it will block all the dust particles. It will catch up all the dust particles that are in the air. Otherwise, what will happen? The dust particles are harmful for us, isn't it? So, it is preventing the dust particles. So, it is trapping the dust particles that is present in the air. Okay, so it is just like the filtering unit that you find in a filtering machine. It will trap the dust particles. What? The hair that is present inside our nose will trap the dust particles that are present in the air that we breathe in. Okay, so I repeat again, children, we take in air through our nose. The air is rich in oxygen. The air that we take in is known as the inhaled air. Okay, air that we take in is known as the inhaled air. The air is then carried to the windpipe, and from the windpipe it reaches the lungs. It reaches both the lungs. And from the lungs, the blood that is present there. Okay, you know that the blood is supplied, or blood is present in all the parts of our body, isn't it? So the blood will take this oxygen that has reached the lungs. The blood will take the oxygen, or it will carry the oxygen. And oxygen is important for all the cells in our body. Okay, so what will it do? The blood will take up the oxygen that is present. Oxygen is taken up or carried, taken up by blood. Okay, the oxygen is taken up by blood. The oxygen is taken up by blood and the blood will carry it to different body cells or different parts of our body, and every part is made up of cells. So, it will take the oxygen to each and every cell. Okay, and from the what is produced as waste material, we know that we take in oxygen, inhaled air is rich in oxygen, and you have learned that carbon dioxide is given out, isn't it? We breathe out carbon dioxide. Okay, this carbon dioxide is actually produced by all the cells in our body as a waste material. So, after giving the oxygen to each of the cell, it will take the waste material, the carbon dioxide gas, and the blood will travel back again. Okay, it will travel back again. It will travel back again. CO2. Okay, it will carry the CO2 back from the lungs to the windpipe and again back to the nose. And we are what? Breathing the carbon dioxide out. We are breathing the carbon dioxide out. Is it clear? So, just remember, oxygen goes in and carbon dioxide comes out. Okay, so the air we breathe in is known as the inhaled air and the air we breathe out is known as the exhaled air. Air we breathe in is known as the inhaled air and the air we breathe out is known as the exhaled air. Exhaled, that means exit. So, just remember giving out. So, is it clear, children? So, these are the parts of our respiratory system. For you to understand better, I will just tell the points once more. Okay, I will just tell you the points once more. So, I will just tell you the points once more for you to understand better. So, this is the picture of our respiratory system. Okay, everyone look at the picture. It mainly consists of our nose, windpipe and lung. Okay, then we know that we breathe in air. Okay, the air we breathe in is known as inhaled air and the air is having what? Dust particles. Those dust particles is actually trapped by the small hairs that are present inside our nose. Okay, and the air that we breathe in is rich in oxygen. That means the air that we breathe in contains a lot of oxygen gas. Okay, and how does that air travel? The air that is rich in oxygen. Okay, the air that is rich in oxygen is traveling through the nose, then to the windpipe and then it reaches both of the lungs. Okay, oxygen. And this oxygen is taken up by the blood and the blood will take it to different parts of our body. And from that means to different cells of our body. From the blood will again collect the waste material, that is the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is taken from those cells or from those body parts and the blood will take up the carbon dioxide. You learned about carbon dioxide. Okay, the carbon dioxide is taken from all the cells and what is happening? This carbon dioxide is traveling back to our nose through the windpipe. Okay, carbon dioxide. So, the air we exhale or breathe out is rich in carbon dioxide. That is a waste material. Okay, remember that carbon dioxide is a waste material. So, this is how our breathing system works. Just imagine you are breathing all the time, isn't it, till you are alive. All these processes or all these things are happening in your body. So, just imagine how wonderful our body is. So this is about a respiratory system. So children, please mark the important points in your worksheet. Okay, and when you are learning the diagram, learn mainly these three parts. Many other things are marked in your worksheet. You just have to learn these three parts of the respiratory system. Okay, and children also mark these points in your worksheet. See, the air we breathe in is known as the inhaled air. Then the air we breathe out is known as exhaled air. And remember, oxygen, O2 means oxygen. Okay, oxygen goes in, carbon dioxide comes out. Okay, oxygen goes in, the air that we breathe in has oxygen, is rich in oxygen, and the air that we breathe out is rich in carbon dioxide. Then blood will carry this oxygen to different parts of the body, and the different cells will utilize. So the different parts will use this oxygen and will produce carbon dioxide as a waste product. And children, do you know why this oxygen is important? Oxygen gas is important for us to produce energy. When we need energy, this oxygen is very important. Only then the food that we eat will be converted to energy. Okay, so food plus oxygen will give you energy. Just remember that, you will learn about that in your higher classes. So children, I hope that these points are clear to you. Please learn the three main organs involved in our respiratory system, that is our nose, our windpipe, then the lungs. Okay, please learn these points well. I hope that the respiratory system is clear to you all. So please read your worksheets well and mark the important points that are written on the board. All these are the important points. Okay, so thank you children.